If you have an LLC and you're not tracking your tax write-offs the right way, you are probably losing thousands of dollars every single year. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the most of your taxes and what tax deductions that you can write off to save you a ton of money. And you don't need to be a CPA to understand this. Actually, this is something important for everybody to know so that you can keep track of it every single year and save a ton of money in the long run. And you guys, on this channel, we break down business and tax related stuff in a way that actually makes sense and makes it super easy. So today's topic is all about how to legally write off things under your LLC, even if you are just getting started. And I'm going to show you exactly what counts, what doesn't count, and how to document it so that you don't have to worry about an audit. And again, you're going to save so much money, like thousands of dollars. Once I started really tracking my tax write-offs, I was like shocked how much money I made back. So this is great for everybody to know. So let's get one thing straight. Tax write-offs are not some shady loophole. They are how the wealthy and smart business owners legally keep more money. And the IRS wants you to deduct legitimate business expenses because it encourages economic growth. So it is a win-win for everybody, but especially for you as the business owner to make back some of your money that you have worked hard for. So for example, let's say you make $80,000 with your business, and if you have $20,000 in legit write-offs like meals, travel, phone, etc., you are only going to be taxed $60,000. So that's the difference between handing the IRS a check for $20,000 or maybe just $13,000 and getting that $7,000 back for yourself. So let's start with some of the type of deductions. The first is your home office deduction. So if you work from home, even if it's just a few hours a day, you are allowed to deduct a portion of your rent, your utilities, and even your cleaning supplies. So for example, if your home is 1,000 square feet and your office is 100 square feet, that would be 10%. So 10% of your rent, electric, water, etc. is deductible. And obviously you don't want to overdo it and you want to keep it reasonable to make sure that percentage is what part you use for your business, but everything within that office space is deductible. Next is your phone and internet. So if you use your phone and internet for business, which I would assume that you do, you can write off the business portion of it. So if 70% of your phone calls are business related, you can write off 70% of your phone bill every single month. I recommend, you keep a separate business line for your phone, or you get, two phones even if you need it. This just kind of helps make it clearer for you and easier for you if you want to separate the two. Then we have software and subscriptions. So every tool that you use for your business is deductible. Let's say like QuickBooks, Canva, Zoom, and even Dropbox. So if you're paying a $29 a month subscription for Shopify, that's a straight deduction of $348 a year. So don't forget about any subscriptions you have that are business related. Okay, business meals, yes, they are deductible as long as they are for a business purpose. So if you're grabbing lunch with a potential client, that's a 50% deductible. And, it's good to write down who you met up with and what you discussed in your notes or on the receipt itself. This will just kind of help you track which meal was business and which was personal. And don't forget about travel meals. Those count as well. Travel expenses such as flights, hotels, Ubers, Airbnb, anything that you're using for traveling for business is a write-off. So to give an example, let's say you fly to LA for a product sourcing event. Your flight, your hotel, your Lyft rides, and even a portion of your meals are all deductible. So if you add on a day or two for personal use, that is not deductible. But anything that, any part of the business trip that is all deductible. So I'm going to give you some examples now of things that you probably did not know are write-offs. And I love these ones because it's like sneaky things that you use every day, but they are actually write-offs. So clothing, if it's branded or uniformed. So your everyday clothes are not deductible, but if you have a logo, as part of your uniform, or you use it every day for work, that is a deductible. So for example, if you have a branded polo shirt with your business name, that's part of marketing and uniform. Your regular jeans or t-shirt are not deductible, but like, for example, this blazer that I wear for work, this would be deductible. Education and courses. So any course, webinar, or workshop that improves your business skills is a write-off. So for example, if you are buying a $500 course to learn something new, like a new skill for your business, that is an educational expense. And even YouTube Premium, for example, if you're using it to study your competition or run your channel, that is also a write-off. Marketing and advertising. So all of your ad spend counts from Facebook, Instagram, Google, flyers, signs, even your website domain name and hosting. So if you're spending $50 a month on Facebook ads, that is a $600 a year taxable income. Vehicle expenses. If you drive for your business, track your mileage or use actual expenses. So option one is the mileage method, in which it's 67 cents per business mile. So you would just track every single mile that you drive. Option two is your actual expenses like fuel, repairs, insurance, registration, etc. So if you drive 6,000 miles for business, that is around $4,020 in write-offs using mileage. And me personally, I like to use the app Mile IQ. There's a few others similar to where it automatically tracks your miles. And every time you drive, you just hit start and then stop when you finish driving. And then you can move it to either the business side or the personal side on the app. And this is way easier because, later on in a week, you might not remember if your drive for an hour was for business or personal. Then we have startup costs. So if you spent money before your LLC was even formed, you can still deduct it up to $5,000 in your first year. So, for example, if you paid a designer for, a logo 3 months before forming your LLC, that still counts. So just make sure you keep your receipts and categorize them and, have the dates clear on them so you know it's within the year and what you spent it for. All right, so here's how to track your write-offs without getting stressed or overwhelmed. So none of these deductions matter if you don't track them. And that's where a lot of people mess up. I know that I have definitely messed up to where I haven't tracked any of my receipts. And later on down the line, I owe the IRS so much more money when I could have saved thousands of dollars just by tracking little things like driving or anything business related. So one good thing you can do is open a separate bank account, and you can have your personal account and then your business account. This just kind of protects you in case, let's say there's an audit later down the line. But honestly, it's just kind of easier for yourself to track and see, if you're spending everything with your business credit card, you're not going to have to go through at the end of the year and sort things out to figure out which was personal and which was business. You can also use a bookkeeping app or a spreadsheet to track things. For example, QuickBooks, Wave, Excel. And, in this way, you can categorize your expenses like miles, travel, ads, office supplies, etc. And you would just manually add them in there. Also, keeping receipts is the best thing to do. I like to keep digital receipts. I just take a picture with my phone of the receipt and put it into an album, or you can put it onto Google Drive. If you want to keep paper receipts, that's fine as well. You just keep a couple different folders and you can label them as what type of expense that they were. And I would say the most important thing to tracking without getting stressed is being consistent and doing it every single day rather than at the end of the week or the end of the month. And you want to track every dollar. So even a $3 coffee with a business partner could be a legit write-off if you document it. And, in a week from now, you might not remember that $3 coffee was for work and you might forget all about it. So you just want to keep track every single day. It takes 2 extra seconds to, keep the receipt and to file it in the right place. Like we said, whether it's on your Excel or your photos, wherever you keep your documentation of your receipts. All right, so not everything is deductible. And you want to be careful so you don't get flagged. If you're going to the club and you spend $900 with your friends, don't write that as a business expense. That's going to just raise a red flag for the IRS. You don't want to have to get fined for going out to the club and just being reckless with what you're writing off. Okay, so, personal groceries, not a write-off. Netflix subscription, probably not a write-off unless maybe you work in media and you're supposed to review content or something. Family vacations, not a write-off unless it's a business trip. And Yeah, just anything that you're using for your everyday life, you just try not to stretch it. Like, you don't want to push the limits and be writing off birthday gifts as a business expense. So if you're not sure if something is personal or business, just ask yourself, how did this help your business? And this will probably clear things up for you if this was business or personal. All right, so I hope this was helpful in clearing some things up on what things are tax write offs for your business. And as you can see, there are so many things that you can write off, and it's so important to keep track of it. So, just a quick recap of some of the write offs are your home office, your phone and internet, any software tools, business meals, travel, education, marketing, vehicle use, and startup expenses. So, track your spending, keep your receipts, and be consistent doing it every single day. The money you save can go back into growing your business or, of course, right back into your pocket. And sometimes it might be annoying to track every single little receipt, but it literally takes 2 seconds to do. And this is going to make you back thousands of dollars every single year, which is your money to keep anyway. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments about is something a write off for your business, leave it in the comments below, and I'd love to help you guys figure out if it's a write off for your business. So, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask, and I will see you guys in the next one.